So we just need to keep a good eye on the bellies of the fish. So we can see the belly of this one is actually going up, whereas we want to have like a nice little healthy belly. In general, most of the fish actually look really good. So, there's another one there. Okay, so I'm going to need to test the water now. So the belly of most of the fish is actually looking very good, and most of the fish are looking very good. So most of the fish are actually not skinny. So I'll take a water sample back to the shop. But if we look at the belly of this guy, he's quite skinny as well. But if we look at most of the other fish are actually really quite good. So I'm actually not heaps worried about the other fish. There's plenty of oxygen. The filter's definitely working. I can see the water coming out of the filter. I know they're fed on very good quality food. So the only variable I've got at this stage is a couple of the fish look thin and the rest of the fish look quite good. Now, one of the reasons why a fish can be thin is population. So fish emit what's called pheromones and phenols and various things into the water that suppress growth. And now let's just say that this tank's full, meaning that we're not really allowed to put more fish in this tank because Mother Nature has said, hey, that's enough fish for you. Then if that's the case, then what happens is every now and then one of the fish will get skinny and die. And it will get skinny and die due to concentrations of pheromones, phenols and other things in the water. So if we do not replace this fish and all the rest of the fish are good, then everything's okay. But basically every aquarium has what's called a biological capacity. And a biological capacity is basically how many animals are we allowed to have in this environment. And as the fish grow, their demand on the biological capacity increases. And then if the fish are growing and the fish are growing and the fish are growing, and then Mother Nature says, that's enough fish for you, then what she'll do is just either knock off the odd fish. So usually they'll stop feeding and then they'll die. Or she might send a little bit of a disease and wipe a bunch of them out. And that's how Mother Nature looks after the environment. So the first thing I want to say is do not put more fish in this tank. This is enough fish, and looking at the tank, this looks about right. There's a really nice amount of fish in this tank. There's plenty of oxygen and the filter's definitely running. So fish keeping is 50% water quality and 50% food quality. So I'm going to take a water sample back to the shop and check on the water quality. I'm actually assuming that the water quality will be okay on the basis that all the rest of the fish I'm looking at are great. But then you will find, if it's a population problem, then this guy, he'd probably be next. You see the way he's getting a bit thin? That could be Mother Nature's control. So the moral of the story is, if you're losing fish, don't buy more unless you're confident why you lost them. And looking at this tank, it looks great. Water's a tiny bit yellow, so probably could do with some extra water changes. But on the basis the rest of the fish look fat, the rest of the fish look healthy, I don't actually think there's any major problems going on in here at all, except success. And as far as fish are concerned, success has a price. So if you have all these fish and they're all growing, then the amount of demand that they have on the biology of the aquarium grows. And then once you hit biological capacity, some have to die. That's just a rule. So I'll check back in once the water quality is tested. If you ever lose a fish, the two things I want you to do, or three things I want you to do. First of all, make sure there's no more dead fish in the tank, because fish dying rot and cause other fish to die. So dead fish must be removed straight away, otherwise we increase the chance of other ones dying. Then the next thing I'd want you to do is make me a nice video so I can see everything going on in the tank. I also want to see all your bits and pieces, your fish food, your water age, and all your stuff. Let us see all that, and then bring a sample down to the shop and let us test it. And then we're very confident we can work out why we've lost the fish. Looking at this tank with lots of healthy fish, I would like to see some extra water changes done for a little while. The water's got a little bit of a yellow tint in it, which is a what's called a Gilvan tint, which is a sign of high biological activity, which would mean that there's a lot of fish in this tank. And some of them are getting really big too. And then you've also got to be aware that big fish are nowhere near as economical with their nutrients. So big fish produce a lot more waste than small fish because small fish are much more economical with their nutrients. So as fish get bigger, you've got to be prepared you're going to lose the odd fish. That's just what happens. Because you can only have a certain amount of fish in a certain environment, and that's Mother Nature's rules, not mine.